Tourette syndrome is a nervous system disorder characterized by uncontrollable movements or unwanted sounds called tics, such as repeatedly blinking the eyes, shrugging shoulders, outbursts, or saying offensive words. I don't know much of its neurological basis, but it's thought that the tics are caused by a compulsive need to self-stimulate in a way that's taboo or disruptive. If you want to learn more, there's plenty of videos of people with Tourette's on YouTube. In this video, however, I hope to share my childhood experience with Tourette's and how I think I was cured. In early childhood, I was a very sensitive kid. I threw a lot of tantrums and was very particular about the food I ate and the clothes I wore. I just didn't like how things felt in my body, and was under constant irritation and stress, despite having a pretty loving and present family. School and social pressures only made it worse, though. I was too young to communicate my feelings, and my parents just thought I'd grow out of my sensitivity because my brother, who was my identical twin, didn't have any of the same problems. My first tics arose around 2nd or 3rd grade. Minor ones at first, chirping in a high pitch, opening my mouth really wide, flexing my neck and smiling like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit. Beautiful day, eh, Gromit? Quirky stuff like that. I didn't actually say that, but I made the face. Anyway, my parents grew concerned, but didn't make much of it for a while, until my tics emerged into screaming with my mouth closed, swearing and then pressing my hand hard over my mouth, breaking my favorite toys and throwing more tantrums because of it, and repeatedly getting within centimeters of punching myself in the face. I never caused any actual harm to myself, I don't think, but my parents decided it was time to see a professional. The therapist I ended up with probably didn't know what she was doing in hindsight. She thought to treat the tics themselves rather than first identify stressors or other potential causes. All I remember her doing is having me come up with replacement words for the curse words and checking in every session to see how I was doing with saying the replacement words. As you could guess, it wasn't very effective. I was prescribed 0 medication, but was recommended all kinds of supplements and took those pretty consistently for a couple of years. Nothing worked though, and my tics only grew more taboo and disruptive, especially after attending a maturation program. Oh boy. At the end of 6th grade, the last grade for my elementary school, me and my brother were dropped by the 2 only friends we had. The following summer of 2015 was the loneliest summer of my life. Fast forward to 7th grade. I started making a lot of friends. I hung out a lot and I even joined an ultimate frisbee team, but most importantly, my tics were gone. For a long time since then, I thought I just got lucky and that I simply grew out of my tics, but about a year ago I noticed a strong correlation with the diminishing of my tics, and it only made more sense the more I thought about it. Near the middle of 6th grade, the last grade in the elementary school I went to, I entered one of my longest lasting relationships. A relationship with the game of Minecraft. At first I only played creative mode, as any 12-year-old did, but I was hooked. My tics were a pretty annoying hindrance when I would play. I would break things I was proud of, kill things I liked, but I could always hit undo. Well, kind of. Creative mode, whatever. Me and my brother got into mods, survival mode, competitive servers, SMPs, and even started posting on YouTube. Anytime I spent not playing, I spent thinking about playing. And then school season came around, and my tics were gone at that point. So you're probably thinking, okay, I see a correlation, but correlation doesn't equal causation. And you'd be right. I can't say that this qualifies as substantial evidence, but hear me out. There's 3 different aspects as to how I think Minecraft cured my Tourette's. Number 1, when I was playing Minecraft, I could take back any mistake I made, and so condemning myself for making mistakes, which would happen a lot whenever I'd have tics, became gradually less common. I didn't bother being perfect as long as I could progress in the game. I was already enjoying myself. 2, I was in my own world, literally. The only person I needed to please was myself. All outside pressure to perform was non-existent. Well, as long as you don't count all the people on the servers I was on, but whatever. Number 3, the satisfaction I would get from resisting a tic, which took form as me progressing in the game, outweighed the stress relief of the self-stimulus of the tic. In other words, not doing a tic became more immediately satisfying than doing a tic. It was like an immediate feedback loop. And I'm not just taking a shot in the dark here. There's a couple psychological principles that actually support this claim. I feel like most people are familiar with the term neuroplasticity now, but if you aren't, let me explain it simply. Our brains learn using a reward system. When your brain recognizes an immediate reward or desirable stimulation for doing something, it becomes more likely to repeat that behavior, as it can expect a repeated reward. It does the same for undesirable events too, and learns to avoid them. This concept of neuroplasticity is used in a couple practices of psychology to directly treat maladaptive behaviors, things that medication or talk therapy can't seem to fix. There's a couple commonly known practices I'm aware of. Exposure therapy is the practice of putting someone in a situation they are triggered by and rewarding them or showing them the lack of danger or reason to be uncomfortable. This has to be done willingly, but it is very common treatment for people with major phobias, PTSD, or extreme anxiety or OCD. Contingency management is used for individuals with addictive problems. Basically, addicts are taught to reward their own abstinence from substances. This is really difficult to do because the brain can be so fixed on a certain substance that no other reward can compare to that hit. But with step-by-step goals, self-praise, and realistically some relapses, unfortunately, this can really work wonders for an addict's life. Neurofeedback is a technical approach where a clinician might put little electrical nodes on a patient's head to read their brainwaves. Brainwaves are basically the frequency at which neurons fire in certain brain states. So a computer will read this frequency and it will teach the brain how to rewire itself by having desirable activity without any conscious effort of the patient, using simple feedback such as a screen flashing or a video game character moving right or left to avoid an obstacle or something. Neurofeedback isn't widely known, but it is getting more and more popular as brain education is normalized. It's a pretty technical science, so I'll spare the details, but for some it can be life-changing for all sorts of issues such as ADHD, anxiety, depression, emotional dysregulation, autism, and even tourettes. However, there are many valid criticisms of the effectiveness, and it's rarely covered by insurance. I'd do my own research and ask a trusted professional if I were you. With all these in mind, and through understanding that the brain can change if given the proper reward system, I think it's reasonable to say that Minecraft may have had a hand in diminishing my tourettes. By the end of the summer of 2015, the only tics that remained were the flexing of my left bicep and tricep at the same time, and the tight curling of my left index finger. Two tics which I still notice myself doing from time to time today. I don't know, maybe I have a nerve issue or something, who's to say. Other than that though, I have not struggled with Tourette's for nearly 9 years. Catching up socially wasn't easy, and thank goodness for friendly bullying, or I wouldn't have caught up as much as I have. But I have a lot ahead of me. Pursuing a career, finding love, raising a family, becoming who I want to be, it's all terrifying, but man, would my life be harder if I still had Tourette's. And so I wanted to share my story in hopes of maybe opening the door to possibilities. Now, I'm not saying that Minecraft is going to cure your Tourette's. Please do not think that I'm saying that. But I just wanted to show through my story, as a personal testimony, show that this principle of neuroplasticity and immediate feedback can really treat things that you wouldn't expect it to be able to treat. I hesitated making this video because I am not in the psychological field. I don't have any credentials or anything, so please don't take this as medical advice, obviously. And I also didn't know if it was worth the time, because obviously YouTube requires a large time investment before seeing any returns. So posting this video, I can't imagine gaining anything. I don't expect many people to see this, and I'm not planning on making any other videos anytime soon. But I think I realized if even one person saw this and has gained hope, it would be worth it to me. Anyway, I hope that this video has been somewhat entertaining and eye-opening, and I leave you with a thank you for watching, and good luck.